Kids are for people who can't have dogs. Not everyone wants children, and that's okay. Hi there, I'm Roux. Welcome to my video. Today we're going to take a gander at the subreddit known as ChildFree, which is a subreddit for people who are childless by choice, so they don't want children for whatever reason. Now you might wonder, why does this subreddit exist? Well, mainstream society seemed to be very offended with the notion that not everyone wants to reproduce. Very offended. Personally, I have a strong suspicion that the people who are the most offended by the thought that people might not want the same things as them, aka having human children, are probably the people who secretly didn't actually want them, and they just did it out of social pressure, and now they want everyone to be equally miserable, which is sad because all children should be wanted. Or it's just that they're very, very unintelligent or can't put themselves in other people's shoes and imagine that not everyone wants the same things. Not everyone's favorite color is blue, and not everyone likes llamas. It's the same thing. So without further ado, let's get into it, huh? With today's stories, controversial? But why? The same? Regrets. Baby rabies. Why does she get the rich guy? Adults only. Time entitlement. And last but not least, mad respect. But before we start, this week's shout out goes to Lightstar. With your comment, like, don't you get angry with the voice you use sometimes to describe how annoying they are? Not really, it's fun to make that voice. And then she continues her comment with, Roux, you are awesome. Merry Christmas. I feel like it's like a backhanded compliment, like, oh, you're making that voice sound so believable. Isn't it annoying? So I don't know if it's like a compliment or not, but I'm gonna take it as one. Thank you. Yes, but without further ado, let's get into it. Controversial? But why? Surprised at how controversial my decision to live without children is. I actually don't have a problem with people who choose to have kids. If that's what makes them happy, fine. If a woman genuinely likes being pregnant and the miracle of motherhood, or whatever the frick, fine. It's her body, so of course, it's her choice. And if a man wants kids and his wife/husband is fully on board, that's great. Just don't frick them up or have too many. But for some reason, whenever I mention that I'm never going to be a mother, and never want to, people with kids pretend like I've just said something to offend them. They seem so insecure in their life choices that someone even considering going a different way freaks them out. What's with that? I feel like there's a lot of truth to that, sadly. I think people don't really think it through. Like, I think you should think it through thoroughly. Like, are you ready? Mentally, emotionally, financially? Are you going to be a good parent? Are you going to be, like, is that, like, something that you think that you would be good at? And it's a huge task, like, guiding a new human in the world. People should put some thought into it, and it's okay to say no. And sadly, if you live in a society where it's basically like frowned upon to say no and you just feel pressured and like this is what's expected of you, I think a lot of people who shouldn't be parents, either because they wouldn't enjoy it or because they would just be downright bad at it, have kids anyways just to please someone else. And that is unfortunate. The same? So, my sister thinks a dog is the same as a baby. My sister has always wanted babies from an early age. She always freaked out over tiny baby shoes and, "Aw, look at the clothes I could make them wear! All the Instagram pics I could take!" And that's always made me go, like, do you only want a baby to dress it up and take pictures? Because it won't be your personal dress-up doll forever. She doesn't seem to realize how much work an actual child is. She only focuses on the baby years. So she bought a dog. She once called it her practice baby, like she thinks a puppy is going to prepare her for a life of stress. Yes, puppies and dogs can be hard work, and she seems to think she's a saint for training one. How she's such a good mom? Hey hun, do you realize that you left your puppy alone from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day and just expected other people to look after it without asking or telling people that's what you'd be doing? Because you can be sure as hell that you won't be able to do that when you have a baby. Remember when you accused other people of being neglectful for not having the common sense to come over when I'm at work and look after it? Yeah, you're the neglectful one. She doesn't seem to realize that she won't be able to train a baby in months, that it won't stay small forever, that you won't be able to just dump it on other people when you feel like it. And yet she insists she wants a baby ASAP? I've come to my own realization that I'm child-free recently, after dealing with my pregnancy fears and reading through this subreddit. And it just baffles me how a person can be so oblivious because babies are cute. Sorry for the rant. It was just plaguing my mind. That's really alarming. That's why I say you should be really prepared. If you're going to have a child, you need to realize that you're having another human and that you're going to raise them. They're not going to be babies forever. They're going to be children, and then they're going to be teenagers, and then they're going to be grown-ups. And you need to be mentally prepared to be the sensei or the guiding force for this person through their life. And it's just makes me so sad that she's just gonna have a kid so she can take Instagram pictures. I also feel really bad for her dog. I feel like a person who's that oblivious and can't be a good dog mom either. Oh my. Regrets. Survived Thanksgiving with the family. I, 22 female, managed to survive family Thanksgiving with only a few bingos. Before we begin the story, I want to preface that bingos is a word used for when people express what they want in life, and then other people go, actually, no, you'll change your mind. That's just, they don't believe them, and they don't respect other people's opinions about their own life. And they're basically bingoing them, and they're crossing off all the things they could say that is rude and offensive when someone's just expressing their own sincere wishes in life. My cousin's kids were acting up every second they were here. After lunch, my cousin told me, when you have kids, only have one. While I don't particularly like her wording, I feel sorry for her. It sounds like she might have regrets. Said cousin later jokingly asked my mother if she wanted 2 more children, referring to her own. My mother replied, "No, I want a grandbaby." She proceeded to look at me, her only child, with a pitiful expression. I just stared at her until she looked away. The marriage and baby bingos have increased in frequency the past several months. I'm not married, or even close to getting married. I'm not even dating anyone. My mother has a weird obsession with trying to get me to date. I don't understand it. I have a great relationship with her, and she's a fantastic mom, but we just don't see eye to eye on dating and babies. Thankfully, everything turned out fine. I got to talk more about my college graduation in 2 weeks than a hypothetical husband and children. I would say it was a win in my book. That's the thing. If you only had children so that you could have grandchildren one day, that's very selfish. Because that's basically like going, oh, I had a child so that they could take over the family business. Now, back in the day, that might have sounded like yeah, of course, everyone must be in the family business. How dare you reject your parents' plans? But now we understand that this is incredibly selfish, and you don't even take into account if that child is going to be good at that job or if they want to or like it or enjoy it. You're basically saying, my wants are more important than yours. And as much as uncomfortable it might make people feel, it's the same with grandbabies. You can't just be entitled to grandchildren. You can't just be like, oh yes, you will do this for me. If your children wouldn't enjoy being parents, why would you put them through that if they don't want to? Just so that you could play grandma. Yeah. And that brings me on to the topic of baby rabies. Rant on behalf of my non-child-free sister. My mom, pretty much unwillingly after a very long time, accepted that I, 26 female, will never be having kids. This means that her chances at grandkids is 100% on my sister's, 23 females, shoulders. My sister, who has been in her first serious relationship for only 7 months and is doing the long distance thing while her boyfriend is in grad school. My mom jokingly told me that she'd told my sister that it would not be a problem at all if she were to get pregnant right now, and I just lost it. I'm excited for my sister one day having kids because I want to be the cool aunt, but I'm proud of her for planning on having kids once she and her boyfriend are financially stable and ready, which is not now. If she got pregnant right now, it would be bad for her, bad for her boyfriend, and bad for the baby. The fact that my mom is subtly encouraging her makes my blood boil. She's 23, for fuck's sake. Let her be young and find her path before pressuring her for grandkids. Let her be responsible and let her make her own decisions. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving, I guess. Oh my, yeah, that's so true. Like, I feel like maybe people, when they get to a certain age and they always thought that they would have grandkids, they're like, the baby's out of the nest, what to do, have no hobbies, gave up my life because I really wasn't focusing on myself. Oh, yes, more babies. I can't have them because I am old, but you can have them, dear child. Give me the babies. That's basically baby rabies. That's just being obsessed with babies. Yeah. Being a good mom means that you'd want your children to make decisions for themselves, and when they want kids, you shouldn't want them to want to have them when they're not ready. Like, what is up with that? You should be so happy that you have responsible children. That means you did a bang-up good job. Why does she get the rich guy? Child-free friend marries a rich guy and co-workers loses their shit. So around 4 years ago, a child-free friend and I were working in the same company. In fact, I knew her from high school, and she was the one who recommended me for the job, so naturally we stuck together once I started working there. That's how I ended up meeting 2 of her co-workers and started accompanying them for their daily lunch trips to nearby restaurants. One day, my friend was having a particularly vulnerable moment and decided to tell these co-workers that she was child-free, and went on to discuss how difficult it was for her to find a partner because her greatest value as a woman was her womb. To my surprise, these co-workers instantly jumped in to comfort her and let her know that she was a wonderful person and that there were plenty of men out there who didn't need children to be fulfilled in life. My friend later told me that she was nervous to tell them that she was child-free, but that she was happy it went well. I agreed with her, and from that moment I began to warm up to them and consider them as friends too. A few months after that, we all went to this work conference, and my friend ended up meeting one of the guest speakers afterwards. And they instantly hit it off. Everyone could see it. Days later, my friend excitedly tells us she went on a date with this guy and that they had a great chemistry. Everything went really well, and that he was also child-free. At this point, I noticed that the 2 co-workers were looking a bit uncomfortable, so I casually asked them what was wrong. And one of them hesitantly mentions that he's really wealthy and very successful in his field. And while I don't think my friend is a gold digger, I would be lying if I said she wasn't pleasantly surprised. She was still concerned though, so she asked them if he was a player or something, and they said they didn't know him well enough to say if he was or not, but that she should be careful because she is a traditional woman who desires marriage, and she should know that rich men don't really marry child-free women. Of course, the awkward silence ensued after that, so they went on to explain that rich men only marry when they're ready to settle down and have children. And if they don't want children, they're going to live a wild life as a bachelor, not tie themselves down to one woman. After they made this point, I asked them about what they said a few months earlier about her eventually finding someone who didn't need kids to complete them, and these women looked us straight in the eye and said that only applies to normal people, and that when you're navigating the world of elites, you have to have something of equal value to offer. At that point, I was mind blown, and I was thinking, wait, but isn't she valuable enough? My friend, being the calm, open-minded person she was, though, thanked them for the advice and promised she would be careful with him. Fast forward to the present. I attended their wedding last week and it was beautiful. And guess what? I saw those same coworkers. I no longer work for that company, so I hadn't seen them in a while, but when I saw them again, I could tell that they were very surprised. And of course, I decided to be petty and jokingly bring up the conversation we had a few years earlier, to which one of them responded with, "Well, I guess it happens. But a man like him will want to pass on his legacy someday. I mean, what are they going to do after they travel the world and bought enough cars? Reality will sink in eventually." And this is where I should have come back with some witty and snarky response, but I was just so taken aback by the animosity in their voices. They were so supportive when they first found out she was child-free, but then she meets a wealthy guy who shares her values and her weird obsession with collecting bugs, and all of a sudden they're not jealous. Sounds like they're really jealous that she actually made her own choices in life and got what she wanted. I feel like it's the same kind of people who are like, oh, we don't really view him as a human with the values and thoughts and a personality. He's just like a big money sack, and ooh, I would love to get my hands on that. It's sad. Like, two people found each other and they spiritually just clicked, and you're literally sitting there like a sour lemon. Come on, Karen. Adults only. I just had to have this conversation. Every year I host a very nice Christmas party at my house. There's lots of amazing food, nice wine, fancy desserts. It's pretty much my pride and joy for the holiday season, and I put a lot of work into it. I sent out invitations to all my close friends and family a couple of weeks ago. And one of my friends who had a child a year and a half ago mentioned, "Oh, I'm so excited for daughter to see your Christmas tree this year." I looked at her questioningly and told her, "Oh, sorry, I don't have the tree up just yet." I assumed she planned on stopping by on the weekend or something. She replied, "But you'll have it up for your party though, right?" That's when I clued in that she was planning on bringing her toddler to my fancy party. A party that has always been strictly child-free, just like every single party hosted at my house, because my house is not child-friendly. Drinking, smoking, weed, legal here, giant dog who hates kids. After 6 years of hosting child-free parties, all of my friends know by now to leave their kiddos at home. When I politely told her that this was a child-free event, like always, her face screwed up like she'd just eaten a lemon. "Well, what about Sarah? Isn't she bringing her kids?" "No, it's a child-free party." "And Jessica? What about her kids? Aren't they coming?" "No, it's a child-free party." "Are your nieces and nephews coming though?" "No, it's a child-free party." "So I can't bring my daughter?" "No, it's a child-free party." "Well, I don't think I want to come then. I won't be able to find a babysitter for that night anyways." "Okay." Honestly, ever since she had her baby, we've grown apart. Her entire life revolves around her baby, and that's literally all she talks about, to anyone. It makes me want to vomit, and it baffles me how much joy she gets in talking about dirty diapers and sleeping habits. I'm sort of glad she's no longer planning on coming. One less thing for me to stress about. Oh, and I totally love that she's not even going to try to find a sitter for that night. She just automatically assumed she couldn't find one, so she can use that as an excuse not to come. It's actually kind of sad when people have their children be their entire life. Like, they don't have any other hobbies anymore. I feel like it's the thing that leads to people who are like, they have like some sort of mental breakdown when their kids leave the nest, or when their kids are like, actually, I like other things. I have my own opinions because I am my own person and I'm a separate human from you. It's very unhealthy. Like, you're not doing your kids any favors by doing that. Also, kids are not having a good time at adult parties. Like, they're bored AF. They would be having so much more fun hanging out with other kids, or like coloring, or watching some fun TV shows with a sitter or something. Like, bringing them to an adult party, they would be bored out of their minds. Also, you can't just like bring a toddler to an adult party and expect people not to drink and smoke weed and stuff. So then you're just being entitled and or irresponsible. Yeah. Time entitlement. My coworker tried to bully and guilt-trip me into working Thanksgiving for her. I'm in the casino business, and this of course means that major holidays are just another day for us, and requests off are limited for holidays, if even allowed at all. For background, I am 35, single, and I have no children. I have been passed over on schedule rebids for weekends off because it's easier for you since you don't have any kids. This, of course, gives me the midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays as my days off every week. I'm scheduled to work Friday to Monday. Since I have no family, I usually trade Thanksgiving and Christmas if they fall during the week, so other dealers with families can spend time with their kids. This year, I elected not to. My best friend is going to randomly be in my city this week, with his wife's cousin or something that recently moved here, and he will be spending the holiday at her house. This, of course, means that since I'm off Tuesday through Thursday, I'll be able to go out for some drinks Wednesday night with Ryan. And I have an invite to Turkey Day for the first time since I moved to this city. One of my coworkers, let's call her Karen, has been working for this place way less than me. She beat me out of other schedule rebids recently because she has 3 kids and having weekends off to spend time with them is so important. Anyway, Karen didn't as much as ask as made a comment to me on schedule day. So, let the boss know that you're working on Thursday for me. Sorry, I can't trade anyone this year. I actually have plans. Karen scoffs. Well, it's not like you have any family. You need to do the right thing and let those of us with loved ones spend the holiday with them. Well, I'm sure you get to spend a lot of time with them every weekend since I'm here dealing cards. She just grumbled and walked away. Later on in the cafeteria, about 5 of us, including Karen, were eating lunch. We were talking about the holiday and everyone's plans. Karen made a snide remark about how I refused to trade her shifts. All he's going to do is get drunk and watch football. He won't let me have this holiday off with my family. Yep, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Remember, you told the boss that you needed weekends off for family time? So really, I'm doing you a favor by working on my normal day so you can have all the weekends off for your kids. You're welcome. I put on the best poop-eating grin I could and just looked at her. She was visibly displeased, but said nothing else. And my coworkers told me that she whined to them about what a butt crevasse I am after I left. Oh well. I find it really presumptuous to have people be like, well, I have human offspring, so I'm entitled to have free time more than you do. Like, everyone needs time off, and everyone deserves it. Everyone works just as hard. Just because they have different life choices than you doesn't mean that you're more entitled to time off. Just because they don't have mini humans does not mean that their time is less valuable. So rude you are, Karen. I feel bad for everyone in the world named Karen for reals now. Mad respect. Just in case you were sitting there thinking that people on this ChildFree subreddit were the haters of all people who have children, you would be wrong. They just want everyone to be like, you know, you do you, boo. If you want to have kids and that makes you happy, good for you. And if you don't and that makes you happy, good for you. And everyone should just embrace that and not shame people for wanting different things. So on with the story. Sometimes I just have mad respect for a parent. I was at Walmart today during some hectic Christmas shopping. There was his mother of 2, both boys, and one was in a wheelchair. It was a child-sized wheelchair in blue, and I'd guess it was specific for him. The little guy was as sweet as could be. Definitely had some kind of mental disability, I guess. I don't know what's appropriate to say, but he was borderline nonverbal, but very enthusiastic. I'd say both kids were under 10. I'm bad at guessing ages. And might have been twins or a year apart. I bumped into them first in the games electronics section and had a little moment with the one in the wheelchair. He was so excited, waving his arms and smiling at the games. I was picking out a game for my older sister, and we ended up smiling and laughing with each other as we went through some games along with his mother. The mom was nice and seemed to enjoy the interaction as much as us. I wished them a Merry Christmas and went on with my purchase. I saw them again as I was getting checked out at the cash register. It was crazy busy and loud, and the poor little guy in the wheelchair was starting to get overwhelmed. His brother was too, and he definitely wanted that Mars bar. Somehow, this mom managed to tell her kids that no, they were getting a Happy Meal as a treat for lunch, so he couldn't have that bar, without a huge meltdown, all while looking up and checking out and helping her other child with a disability get through the hecticness. Dealing with a cart, a wheelchair, 2 kids, and her purse wallet. Stellar. She handled everything with such confidence and calm. This is the kind of person that's meant to be a parent. The type that can actually handle everything parenthood might throw at them. I'd never be able to handle half what she did in that shopping trip. I would be so overwhelmed myself and probably miserable with the Christmas rush to top it off. I'm never going to be a dad, and I'm okay with that, because I shouldn't and I don't want to be. This woman clearly loves her kids, wants them in her life, and can handle all it entails. This is the parenting I respect and applaud, but I'm so glad I'm not in their shoes. I feel like that's the core of the issue where people are like, why don't people want human children? You should be asking why people do want them, because not everyone is actually equipped to do a good job. If that was the case, there wouldn't be so many abused and neglected children in the world. And if society opened up more to be like, yeah, you should do what's good for you. Like, you should be a parent only if you're ready emotionally, mentally, financially. Like, you shouldn't do it unless you can handle whatever that throws at you. Just like you shouldn't be an ice figure skater if you're not prepared to fall and bruise yourself. We should be more open about people being able to choose without feeling judged. Either way, all children should be wanted, and all people who raise them should do so because they want to enthusiastically and they're ready. Yeah, it's just kinder to the world and the children in it. And everyone should respect each other's choices and not invalidate them. Like, either way, like, you shouldn't be like, oh, you're wrong. Just because someone wants something different than you doesn't mean that their choices are not just as good as yours, or that they're somehow judging you by choosing different. Just means that some people like blue and some people like green, and everyone has their own personal favorite color and wants and desires and choices and, tastes. That's all I have for you guys this time. I hope you had a wonderful time and that you felt a little, cheered up, enlightened. Maybe you didn't know about this subreddit, or maybe you hadn't thought of it before. And want to just spread a good vibe that people should make choices that make them happy. That everyone should make the choice that makes them happy, and that they make good choices in life. I post every Friday, so keep tuned and subscribe. Don't forget to enter my giveaway where you can win some of my merch by following me on Twitter and tweet at me with the hashtag giveaway, telling me your favorite video of mine. Following me on Instagram, commenting on one of my posts, hashtag giveaway, telling me your favorite video of mine. Subscribing to my channel on YouTube, commenting on one of my videos, using hashtag giveaway, telling me your favorite one of my videos. And finally, you can also follow me on Twitch and comment on my live stream using hashtag giveaway, telling me your favorite video of mine. It's that simple. You can enter 4 times, just gives you 4 times the chance to win. I'm going to announce the winner at the end of the year in one of my videos. So, stay tuned and join. It's gonna be fun.